Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here's what we have in the bulletin.
Bus transporting students crashes in Westmoreland. UTech moves to allay fears amid mounting frustration over enrollment glitches. And later in sports, Jamaica defeats Trinidad in World Cup qualifier.
Now the details. A coaster bus transporting students of Belmont Academy crashed along the Waterwheel Main Road in Westmoreland this morning. Reports are that a red SUV exited a minor road into the bus's path, causing the driver to swerve off the road and into nearby bushes. No one was injured. The SUV, which was headed toward Savlamar, did not stop. An eyewitness recounted moments leading up to the crash.
Scream out, and then I see light that glitch and bit time run come out of door now. I see one bus crash here road, them say one red van drive out of lane for them saying Tony bus a bush.
The rural school bus system, 2 buses have been assigned to Westmoreland and were rolled out on Monday. Still in Westmoreland, mixed reactions to the rollout of the government's rural school bus system in the parish.
It really make no sense. Well, to me, I don't know about the government because it cut me out of the equation as a regular taxi man, plus with the pay with taxes and all of these things. We no got no good road and everyday police transport and examiner upon the road. So it don't really make no sense. I did that thing say, all right, try something small, and then if you work, you can come in big. But you just come in big and want to cut everybody out of the equation.
As an adult, I know that the bus really worthwhile because some taxi man don't want to carry the student in. So if the government provides something, I think that's great. That's a wonderful move. That's a great move.
And I think it's safe.
Yes. No, well, I don't know about safe, but it's a good step.
It's a good initiative, but my concern is the special needs children in Westmoreland. I'm not sure. I'm positive sure that special needs has not. None of the special needs children have not driven on those buses, and I'm sure that the parents will welcome it if they get a chance to put the special needs on those buses. In Westmoreland, in Savlamar here, as a matter of fact, there's one big special needs school in Savlamar, and it's an all-inclusive special needs and a regular child, and none of those students there have traveled on any of those buses, and I know that that school need help where transportation is concerned.
Coleridge Brown, the driver involved in the fatal crash on August 31 along Belmont Road, Westmoreland, has been charged with causing death by dangerous driving. The crash claimed the life of 20-year-old motorcyclist Tyrone Myrie. His pillion was thrown over a seawall and remains hospitalized. Brown's court date is still being finalized. And frustration University of Technology, UTech, as some students struggle to sign up for classes for the new academic year. This is due to ongoing technical glitches. But the university's president, Dr. Kevin Brown, says the matter is being addressed. Details in this report.
The 2025-26 academic year has had a smooth start, except for many students enrolled at the University of Technology, UTech. Registering for the new academic year has been a digital nightmare. Since the registration period opened on August 18, thousands of students have met with system crashes and login errors, leaving them unable to select modules or complete enrollment.
So basically, I'm not progressed. My progression status is still showing level 1, which I don't know how or why, but it's still showing level 1. It's not showing the current level 3.
But some students managed to enroll successfully.
Honestly, the entire enrolling process for me was okay. I didn't have much issues, just some minor problems here and there. Whereas the system shut down like 2 to 3 times, and I'd have to refresh it, go again, and refresh and go again.
UTech President Dr. Kevin Brown revealed that a major firewall crashed, severely impacting access to the registration system.
We've spent the summer months preparing to receive our students, both new and returning students. And unfortunately, in late August, which is the peak time for enrollment, we suffered a catastrophic IT failure. Our firewall went down, and our firewall is an important part of our IT ecosystem. It controls the traffic that goes in and out of our network, amongst other features, other important features. It's a really critical part of our IT security.
But the firewall failure is just the tip of the iceberg. With including 30,000 new ones each year, the university's aging infrastructure is reportedly struggling to meet the growing demand.
We're constantly in dialogue with the government and other stakeholders to get the funding to upgrade our IT infrastructure and our physical infrastructure in general. So there is a great need for renewal of our IT systems at UTech, and that is something that we're working on to accomplish. And so because of those challenges, from time to time, you will suffer these catastrophic outages.
He says while measures have been put in place to reduce incidents, system failures sometimes occur that are beyond administrators' control. In light of the current challenges, UTech has extended the enrollment deadline to September 19.
And I just want to reassure students that we understand, we empathize, and we're deeply sorry about what's happened, and we're working really, really hard to ensure that every student is enrolled and starts their classes as soon as possible. But, we've made great progress. A lot of students are enrolled, and we're trying to deal with the few that are outstanding.
Carrie-Ann Simpson, TVJ News.
Political commentator Lloyd B. Smith is warning that the Integrity Commission may face an uncertain future under a Jamaica Labour Party administration. Mr. Smith says while the commission was established to strengthen accountability and fight corruption, he argues that recent rhetoric from JLP officials raised red flags about whether the body will be fully supported going forward.
Sure. Of the Integrity Commission, I have heard much about that, but the fact is that right now the Integrity Commission is an endangered species based on how the previous government behaved towards it. Will we see a further denigration of it, or will it be sufficiently bolstered and made to carry out its functions in an environment where corruption is still looming large?
According to Mr. Smith, the Commission needs stronger backing, not less, if it is not carry out its mandate without fear or favor. He cautioned that any attempt to weaken or sideline the anti-corruption watchdog would send the wrong signal to Jamaicans and the international community. Meanwhile, political commentator Jermaine Barrett hopes the women elected to serve in Parliament will take on meaningful roles. Mr. Barrett notes that while this is a positive move, the impact will only be meaningful if they actively participate in discussions, hold the leadership roles, and influence decision-making at the highest levels.
We're seeing a sort of a new dynamic in the politics where women are not just there numerically. As one could say, well, from 18 to 19, that's not a significant jump. But one also has to appreciate qualitatively the contribution of women in the overall political administration of the country. And they are stepping up in a large way.
Another political commentator, Lloyd B. Smith, says genuine participation by women will not only enrich the quality of governance, but also inspire future generations of female leaders.
These women sometimes could even, dare I say, cut across party lines and unite around certain issues, pressing issues, such as domestic violence, for example, which should cut across party lines. It should be encouraging to see if these women are bold enough to go in that direction, as against our men who tend to be, the machismo and everybody wants to beat their chest.
As the new cabinet is said to be announced soon, all eyes are on the finance ministry. Questions linger about whether Favour Williams will retain the top position. O'Shane Masters reports.
Speculation is mounting over whether Favour Williams will be reappointed Minister of Finance and the Public Service as the country awaits the naming of the new cabinet. Mrs. Williams assumed the role last year following Dr. Nigel Clarke's departure to the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Two major union leaders say she should stay on. Helene Davis White, president of the Jamaica Association of Local Government Officers, JALGO, argues that Mrs. Williams needs more time to prove herself.
She has only been in it for, I think it's less than a year now that she has been in the position. That many persons have been convinced by her performance so far, and there are many of us who thought that she was properly qualified for the position. So the performance aspect is something else that people are actually looking at. The Prime Minister, in his wisdom, I would think he needs a very good finance minister to be able to navigate the waters, what with various policies coming out of the Trump era and so on. There are concerns that have been raised by some as to the performance of the Minister of Finance so far.
President of the Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees, UCASE, Vincent Morrison, says he's confident she should remain in the post.
I'm almost certain that he's going to return to the Ministry of Finance. Just looking on the cabinet, I'm not sure where I can find anyone. If I had to say, I would want to see Favour back in that post.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. It's now time for the Business Minute.
Palace Amusement Company 1921 Limited posted a net loss of $196.8 million for the year ended June 30, reversing last year's $60.3 million profit. The cinema operator's April to June quarter loss stood at $32.6 million, an improvement on the $63.1 million loss a year earlier. Results were weighed down by higher expenses, with administrative costs climbing to $252.6 million from $212.9 million. Finance costs fell to $42.9 million from $55.3 million. Now gross profit dropped to $91.4 million from $178.6 million, as revenue slipped to $1.32 billion from $1.40 billion. Further afield, the Supreme Court will decide whether or not President Donald Trump's sweeping global tariffs are legal. The High Court announced on Tuesday that it will hear the case. A lower court ruled the Trump administration didn't have the authority to impose many of the tariffs under a federal law meant for emergencies. The Trump administration argues the tariffs are needed to address major trade deficits with other countries. The court is set to hear oral arguments in November. For the Business Minute, I'm O'Shane Masters.
And here's a preview of what's coming up in this evening's health report. In this evening's health report, we look at cervical cancer.
Now, screening in cervical cancer actually includes what we call the pap smear, the Papa Nicolau test, where we take samples of the endocervix, test them to see what we call pre-malignant cells. Now, this is something that's done under a microscope, of which we are presenting today. Essentially, these abnormal cells will indicate if there's a low risk or high risk of developing cervical cancer.
That's the health report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's healthy living tip. Get regular pap smears, take the HPV vaccine, practice safe sex, and avoid smoking. Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, the United Nations Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator Tom Fletcher has allocated $9 million from the Central Emergency Response Fund amid worsening violence and displacement in Haiti. The new funding will help the UN and its partners set up life-saving support to the most vulnerable, including those who have fled their homes, and host communities in the Center and Artibonite departments. On the international scene, Poland's military said it had shot down drones that violated its airspace during a Russian attack on neighboring Ukraine. It's the first time it has taken such a step in what is a major provocation for Europe and NATO. Addressing the country's parliament, Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk said there were 19 intrusions of its airspace and that a large proportion of the drones entered from Belarus. He announced that Poland has invoked Article 4 of NATO, meaning the alliance's main political decision-making body will meet to discuss the situation and its next steps. And those are the top regional and international stories. I'm Carrie Simpson.
We take another break. Sports is next.